And welcome back to the Michael Cohen Show on our continued journey to 500,000 subscribers. Let's get there. We're almost at 300,000. So do me a favor, hit subscribe, watch, comment. I want your comments and share with friends because, as I say all the time, chaos isn't stopping. So look, Trump and Vance's outbreak on Friday during the meeting with President Volodymyr Zelensky, it only upped the drama in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Now, Trump solidified his solidarity with Putin. That is inarguable, which has really pissed off many Americans. I mean, really angered many, many Americans. In fact, you may have seen when Vance went on some weekend holiday trip or something like that, he was met by protest after protest after protest. But that's not going to stop Trump from posting on Truth Social. Let me show you what he posted this morning on his platform. He posted, "The only president who gave none of Ukraine's land to Putin's Russia is President Donald J. Trump. Remember that when the weak and ineffective Democrats criticize and the fake news gladly puts out anything they say." First of all, it's needing kind of like an end to that. Remember that when the weak and ineffective Democrats criticize and the fake news gladly puts out anything they say. Yeah? What else? What's the point that you're trying to make? Well, I'm not sure, but he also posted this over the weekend. And the real question that people were asking, did Putin pay him to post it? Show it. "We should spend less time worrying about Putin and more time worrying about migrant rape gangs, drug lords, murderers, and people from mental institutions entering our country so that we don't end up like Europe." Well, let me be very clear. I'm not so sure that's what Europe is right now. What a terrible thing to say about one of your allies, right? Europe is our ally. Talking about murderers and drug lords and rape gangs and so on. Just, again, it doesn't go anywhere. It's just reactionary. And reactionary for what reason, I have no idea. To be honest, I actually posted something on my Substack where I turn around and I say, I'm not certain and I'm not understanding what people are gravitating to anymore. In fact, when you start to read the article, you're going to realize that even the people that were supporting him, chanting, all of his different slogans, when it hits them in their pocket, that's when I believe that things are going to change. I entitled it MAGA, Make America Gullible Again, because that's what's going on here. But you know what? Not everything has to always be negative, negative, and negative. Last night at the Oscars, host Conan O'Brien made absolutely a hysterical joke about Best Picture, Honora, and Russia. Play the clip.
Honora's having a good night. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great news. 2 wins already. I guess Americans are excited to see somebody finally stand up to a powerful Russian.
Yeah, it got some applause, but then again, Trump will just say, that's California. Now on Saturday, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who met with Trump last week, he actually hosted Zelenskyy in London. Play the clip.
Well, let me just say that you're very, very welcome here in Downing Street. As you heard from the cheers on the street outside, you have full backing across the United Kingdom. And we stand with you, with Ukraine, for as long as it may take. And I hope you heard some of that cheering in the street. That is the people of the United Kingdom coming out to demonstrate how much they support you, how much they support Ukraine, and our absolute determination to stand with you, unwavering determination, and to achieve what we both want to achieve, which is a lasting peace for Ukraine based on sovereignty and security for Ukraine. So important for Ukraine, so important for Europe, and so important for the United Kingdom. So I'm much looking forward to our discussions here this afternoon. Thank you very much for making the time to come.
With pleasure. Thank you very much, Keir.
Let me be very, very clear about something. First of all, you've seen me on earlier episodes talking about how I believe that Zelenskyy actually planned this whole thing out. And I think he played Trump like a fiddle, knowing that Trump was going to act in a aggressive, childlike temper tantrum manner. What did he do? He solidified for Ukraine all of Europe to the point where Keir Starmer is now turning around and telling him that you are welcome here. We stand with you. And of course, they stand with Ukraine, not just because Putin is an adversary to their country as well, but his intentions are only damaging to Europe. Now, I just don't understand why our president doesn't see it the exact same way. It would have been such a great win for Trump, a tremendous win, if they would have been able to just enter into a conversation that didn't have to devolve down this gutter. And with the nastiness and the stupidity coming out of Vance's mouth, I don't get it. It could have been such a win for him, and especially at a time that he could actually use a win. Let me be very clear. Again, the people that are surrounding him are not giving Trump good advice. But next, I want to show you a clip of Tulsi Gabbard on Fox News, of course, continuing Trump's tirade against Zelenskyy and Ukraine. It just goes to what I just said a second ago. Tulsi Gabbard and all of these acolytes, these sycophants that are surrounding Trump, are giving him terrible, terrible advice. Play the clip.
Also, though, think that they're in more alignment, and they should be, with the U.S. when it comes to those freedoms and things you talk about. Certainly, those are not things that you would say that Russia or Putin celebrates or bestows on his own people.
That's correct. I would not make that claim, and it's clear that that's not the case, nor does President Trump. But that's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about many of these European countries and Zelenskyy himself, who claim to be standing and fighting for the cause of freedom and democracy, when we actually look at what's happening in reality in these countries, as well as with Zelensky's government in Ukraine, is the exact opposite. You have the canceling of elections in Ukraine. You have political parties being silenced or even criminalized or thrown in prison. You have the freedom of religion, churches being shut down. You have political opposition being silenced. You have total government control of the media. We could go down a whole laundry list of issues that are against the values of democracy and freedom. So it really begs the question, as Vice President Vance said again in Munich, it's clear that they're standing against Putin. Obviously, that's clear. But what are they actually really fighting for? And are they aligned with the values that they claim to hold in agreement with us, the values that President Trump and Vice President Vance are standing for? And those are the values of freedom, of peace, and true security.
All right, so the way that you describe.
Wow. You know, I just want to remind her where she said that Zelenskyy and the Ukrainian government are not permitting freedom of religion and so on. You are aware that President Zelenskyy is Jewish. I think somewhere along the line, she forgot that. Now, Christopher Miller, the Financial Times chief correspondent in Kiev, who has reported on Ukraine for 15 years, posted this on X in response to Tulsi Gabbard's comments, which, by the way, are completely untrue. The first one turns around and he says, elections were not canceled. They are postponed under martial law, as set out in Ukraine's constitution. Ukrainians do want elections, but only once a peace can be guaranteed with security assurances that will deter Russia from attacking them again. Why are such security guarantees necessary? Because there are millions of Ukrainians living under Russian occupation, millions more who've been displaced, a million or so military, and all these people would need to be granted the chance to freely vote, which cannot happen until the Russian gun. Moreover, Ukrainians overwhelmingly support Zelenskyy, and none of them are questioning his legitimacy. There are two countries who are questioning his legitimacy, Russia and the United States. Ukraine's political opposition is not silent. They criticize Zelenskyy even in wartime. There is still a healthy political discourse and competition in the country. Churches are not being shut down, as she mentioned. The Moscow-run arm of the Orthodox Church, which has proven track record of operating as a branch of the FSB, has been barred from practicing. Total government control of the media? Hardly. Independent news outlets are plentiful in Ukraine, and they report critically on the president and the military. Many focus on exposing corruption. Gabbard also asks what Ukrainians are fighting for and whether they actually value freedom. Ukrainians are engaged in an existential fight. They are fighting and dying for freedom and independence, and they have done so since Russia first invaded in 2014. Ukrainians also led two revolutions, the Orange and Euromaidan Revolution of Dignity, over corruption, state violence, political repression. The latter saw more than 100 pro-democracy protesters killed on Kiev's main square, aptly named Independence Square. If there is anyone right now in the world who understands what freedom means and what it costs, it is the Ukrainians. Look, let me be clear. Tulsi Gabbard is doing nothing but spewing Trump and the Republican talking points. And you know what? It is absolutely despicable and inaccurate. Now, Democratic Representative Sarah Jacobs was on MSNBC talking about Republicans changing sides on the conflict after Trump changed his tune. Play that clip.
I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelenskyy again. He either needs to resign and send somebody over that we can do business with, or he needs to change.
Well, what a difference 2 weeks makes. I'm curious how a Republican shift could shift the support for Ukraine, swaying it, ultimately the outcome of a peace deal.
It's so interesting because it's these very same Republicans that were hammering President Biden because they didn't feel like we were giving Ukraine enough support fast enough. And now, as soon as President Trump pulls this, their tune is suddenly changing. And so I think this is incredibly in bad faith. I think it's clear that Republicans are more worried about Donald Trump than about standing up for our values and freedom and democracy around the world. And I think it's really problematic. And I think what we're going to see is that Trump sells out, gives Putin everything he wants, and then we're left holding the bag in a few years when Putin reinvades again, just stronger this time.
I was going to
Look, let me end this by saying, as we all know, it's not just Poland that Putin has intention on taking after Russia. It's Lithuania, Estonia. He's going after all of the Baltics. And at the end of the day, there will come a point in time that, if allowed, there will end up being a massive war, because it's not just about America. America is only one out of a large group of NATO, assuming Trump even allows America to stay in NATO. We are right now in very dangerous territory. And it's why I constantly say, make sure you get facts. Make sure you subscribe to platforms like this and others where you can actually hear legitimate conversation so that you could stay informed, stay active, stay vigilant. There's too much writing for you not to. And as always, thanks for listening. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for watching. I mean, we're going to be posting daily episodes with reactions and talking about politics. We'll be talking about everything, in fact. So please like and subscribe. Join us on this journey.